he's like, I saw a witch. I knew she was a witch. I could tell by the way she's acting. I could just feel it coming off of her. I could sense it. She was right in the front row of the church in the pew during service. And I thought to myself, if that church was worth anything, that witch wouldn't want to be within 100 miles of that church.
Wow. Wow.
You know, and the fact that they're
I
using
tell you.
Christianity to infiltrate tells me
Yep.
everything I need to know about the current status of the church.
Yep. Well, remember
Well-
John Ramirez, he even said when he went to church, he wasn't supposed to go to church. He had to ask the devil for permission. But then that one time that he went to church, because the devil always said, yes, you can go because that church is weak. That church is weak. Well, that one time he went to church because of a girl. They did an altar call earlier than they would usually because he would just leave right before. But they did it off script right after praise and worship. And then, he manifested demons. And he choked the man up. He choked the pastor up. But you're so right. Why do witches and warlocks feel comfortable in that church? They shouldn't feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He spoke on so much stuff that when I first seen him, he went to a botanica and he was talking about Santeria and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and how all that is actually hidden in Catholicism,
Yep.
and everything just clicked. Like,
Come on. Yep.
no wonder
Makes sense,
that
doesn't
makes
it?
so much sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when we visited Rome, was it last year or the year before? It's like it's different when you see things with your eyes. Everybody wants to go to Rome to see what it's about. But when you went there, I went there and we saw these different castles, all this stuff. But you realize as you're looking, it's as if when the Apostle Paul brought Christianity to Rome, it's as if they didn't get rid of the paganism. They just mixed it in.
They
I don't
did.
know. It's when you go there, you'll see like a castle for Archangel Michael, but you don't see anything for Jesus. You'll see Jesus in the background,
Yeah.
but everything is worshiping of angels or worshiping of saints. But it's as if they really never got rid of the paganism. But what they did is they mixed Christianity with the paganism, kind of making Catholicism,
That's
which is
exactly
why
what
you
they
see the
did.
worship of idols and the worship of saints and all these different weird doctrines because it's just a
That's what
mixture.
Constantine and his mommy did.
That's right.
Yeah.
They didn't want to.
Yeah.
They didn't want to accept Christianity for what it was. So they
Mhm.
basically took out all the feast, anything that was Jewish, and came up with their own little
Yeah.
amalgamation of a religion just to have everybody under their control.
Yeah. Well, the first things they did, 300, because it was Constantine, that was the huge hinge point.
Mhm.
And what you could find when you go through history is up to that point, actually, the Satan's tactics was much like we normally know him for, which was murder and death, because all the first few popes were actually martyred. So they actually consider Peter, obviously, their first pope. But you get to 300, and it's like the script changes because it's like, we know, right? I've said this so many times lately, but it's just the truth. The church thrives under persecution and dies under prosperity. And that's why the church in America is in the state that it's in, because we're very prosperous.
Mm.
Now,
And
you
then we
know,
look over
how
in
we were talking about-
Africa, like South Africa, they're or places, not South Africa, but places in Africa right now where they're being martyred, in high numbers, and that's the church grows under that. So sorry, Serge, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. One of the things that did stand up to me, now I'm not sure how true this is, but it's something that stood up to me. In ancient times, what they would do, like let's say a religion comes in and it takes over. Usually, what they do is they build over whatever sanctuary was already there. So let's say there was a Jewish temple, and the Islam came in, they would put their mosque on top of the synagogue. Or if it was Muslim, or if it was what's called a Roman, they would put it over the pantheon of their gods, whatever. So one of the things that was said about you know how he was Jesus was in front of Mount Hermon, and this is a very famous scripture where it says on this, Peter tells him that he's the Messiah, and he says, on this rock I shall build my church, right? Well, one of the thoughts is that he wasn't talking about Peter.
Yeah,
They were at Mount Hermon.
That's right.
So he's building on top of the rock of the gates of hell, basically.
That's right. Yeah, that was in Caesarea Philippi, which geographically is the closest place to Mount Hermon. So and you can still, even to this day, you can go there and they have the Grotto of Pan that they used to sacrifice their kids. They would throw their children in there, and if the streams ran red, then they knew the sacrifice wasn't accepted, and they would just keep throwing kids in until it would run clear.
See, Christians need to know that only because I went there 2 years ago and I was with a church group and you're like, let's take pictures. And they were taking all these happy pictures right there. And I'm like, do you even know what happened here? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think they even called that like the gates of hell or something
Yeah,
like
they
that, or
did.
the entrance
Yeah,
to
that's what
hell.
it's known as.
And I'm like, I'm not taking a picture and then like post this in my house
Yep.
of, the gates of hell where they, like you said, sacrifice kids and
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
crazy.
Worse than that, some of them say, let's take a souvenir
Oh my
and
gosh.
bring that
Leave it
witchcraft
there.
right into their house.
Mm-hmm.